All right, good afternoon, and welcome to Marketing the Magic Live. I am John Delancey, and today we're going to be talking about how to pick the right social networks for your business. Which ones should you be on, and should you be on all of them, and so forth. We are Marketing the Magic, like I said, and every day in April we are taking part in the SSS Veda Challenge put on by Amy Schmidauer over at Savvy Sexy Social. And the prompt, actually, step back a second. The idea behind this challenge is to vlog every day in April. And so I am trying a mix of different things because this is a pretty new project. Marketing the Magic is fairly new. We launched at the beginning of March. And so what I want to do is kind of test out and see what formats and so forth really work for the audience. I want to know what works for you guys. Whether it's pre-recorded videos or live streams like this, which I really love doing. And we're definitely going to keep doing them in some way, shape, or form. But that's really what we're doing right now, is just kind of testing out the waters, testing to see which formats work. So this week, we're going to live stream every day. And we may continue that through the rest of the month, assuming my schedule will allow for it, because I kind of just decided to do this on a whim without actually consulting my calendar or thinking about all the other responsibilities I have, like in my actual consulting business and everything else. So, the prompt for today from Miss Amy Schmidauer over at Savvy Sexy Social was to talk about your favorite social media or social network platform. And rather than really focus on that, because I certainly have my favorite, or at least my least favorite, we'll not get into that. But what's really more important for us as small business owners and as marketers is to understand what's the best social network for your business to reach its customers. Okay? So we're going to talk about a lot of this tomorrow, actually. Not necessarily specifically to do with social media, but our major show topic or theme for this week is what kind of hero is your company? And whether it's a Prince Philip or a Wall-E. And like I said, we'll really dive into that tomorrow for our discussion then. But for today, it's important to understand, or let's see, the reason that we're going to be talking about what kind of hero your company is because it dictates what kind of marketing is going to be most effective for your company, and more importantly, for your company's customers. So, in that same vein, knowing which social networks we should be going for is also critical to understand, because that also dictates what kind of organic marketing we can do, what kind of paid advertising, paid social advertising options are available to us, and so forth. So that's what we're going to be talking about here today. And I am just checking to make sure that our comment feeds are up so that anybody that happens to join us can chat and take part in the discussion. Make sure we're still alive here. We are. Everything looks good. So let's dive into it. Now, it's pretty obvious that each social network has its own niche or its own forte, the thing that it's going to be best at. Twitter is great for a fire hose of information from thousands of different sources if you want to, and just jump in the stream whenever you feel like it and pay attention to what you want to. And it's great for making those individual connections as well, and those one-on-one conversations and big group conversations around a topic. Facebook is obviously more oriented towards friends and family and personal interests. So from the marketing perspective, we're looking more at consumer side for Facebook. Twitter, in that respect, is a good mix of both. There's a lot of people that use it personally, and there are a lot of people that use it professionally and as brands and so forth. LinkedIn, obviously, is the business social network. That is the business-focused network. So if you are marketing to other professionals or to businesses directly, that's going to be a good place to focus some of your attention. And then there's Instagram that focuses on photographs, and Snapchat, and there's a Mastodon now that's somewhat interesting. And there's always going to be these new networks that pop up, and they will always have something that they are really good at. That's a known fact. And the purpose of marketing is to get the right message in front of the right person at the right time. And that generally means on the right channel. So we need to understand what our business is, what category our business falls under, or what kind of hero our business happens to be. We need to understand who our customers are, and then we need to understand where those customers hang out online in order to begin discerning which social networks are going to be best for us or for our businesses in terms of marketing, in terms of creating those relationships and getting that right message in front of that right person at that right moment. So that's the whole point. That's the background here. That's why we need to talk about this. Now, if we look at somebody like Disney, it might be easy to say, well, Disney's everywhere. They're on every social network, so will I. And that's fine. You can certainly have a presence on every social network, just like Disney does. They're everywhere. They're all over Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. They have LinkedIn groups. And if they don't even, if beyond what Disney actually does on those networks, there are massive presences from Disney fans and people who enjoy looking at how Disney does business and things like that all over those networks as well. So Disney is a massive, massive presence. It has massive dollars to spend on its marketing, including its social marketing. So comparing our small businesses, or even medium and sometimes large businesses, to what Disney does may give you ideas that are great, but that may not be quite feasible. So the approach I generally take is, especially when I'm first beginning to market a business, put it everywhere. Okay, so I use the HubSpot inbound marketing platform primarily. That's my forte in marketing, I guess, is inbound marketing, specifically with HubSpot. And HubSpot gives great social tools that are built into it, just like Hootsuite and Buffer and some of those other ones out there, so that I can publish social updates to any of my social networks: Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Google+. I can monitor Twitter through the HubSpot tool and handle my retweets and check for mentions and things like that through HubSpot. And of course, I'm going to share all of the content that I create on HubSpot, so the blog posts and landing pages and offers and funnels, things like that. All those things that I create in HubSpot, I'm going to use their social tools to promote those so that I get the good tracking and all that. And then you watch. Then you find out what actually works. Where do you get a response? And that will help kind of determine where you should focus your efforts. And that's really the key for small businesses or small business clients, if you're a marketing professional, is to identify what works, where that business resonates most effectively with its ideal customers. And well, what are your ideal customers? Excuse me. We actually have an episode that we had on that 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whenever that was, called How to Identify Your Ideal Customers. So I'll try to make sure that's linked up in the comments on Facebook and the description of the show on YouTube, depending on where you're watching. So you can get back to that. But we use a tool called Buyer Personas to identify our ideal customers. Buyer Persona is kind of a breakdown of who our most ideal customers, the people that we most want to serve in our businesses. Buyer Persona wraps up the collection of information that kind of defines who those people are into one cohesive story. It creates a character out of that information so that we have something to picture in our heads or to imagine or to consider when we're thinking about how to market effectively to our ideal customers. Part of developing your buyer personas is going to be to identify where do they hang out online. That's going to be part of it. So you're going to define, are they Facebook fanatics? Are they all over Facebook and in groups around the topic that I'm interested in or that my business serves? Are they on LinkedIn? Do they primarily focus on Twitter? Are they everywhere? Whatever it is. So that's where you start in terms of choosing the right networks to focus on along with that initial data. You need data. You need proof. You need to see where is my message most effective. Now, the thing is, it takes a lot of effort to get any one network to work right, any one social network to give you a result. So just blasting the same message to every network every single day, it's a start. It at least gets some content out there, but it's not really taking advantage of what each network is great at. So in addition to using those HubSpot tools to let me publish everywhere at one time, I also want to go into each of the networks that I'm really trying to focus on. So for instance, on Twitter, I want to go through and I want to find if there are any great retweets or any tweets that I can go manually follow some more people and try to build a few more relationships and get a few more follows in return. On Facebook, you really want to dive in and look for those groups that you might be effective in and make sure that you're interacting with anybody who does comment on your posts or videos or whatever it is on Facebook and so forth. So that's really the whole point. That's the kind of core of how you identify which social networks are going to be most effective for your business. If you're just starting and you have no idea, by all means, try as many networks as you think you ought to. And we are kind of moving into this age of omnipresence, of being everywhere. So I'm, for instance, streaming to both Facebook and YouTube today, and I'm going to try to keep that up. It's a little bit technically challenging at times, but especially while I'm getting this project off the ground and trying to identify where I'm most effectively going to reach the small business owners and the marketing professionals that I want to reach with this project, I'm going to try to be in as many places as I can effectively. Now, again, it takes a lot of work to do it correctly, to maximize your efforts with each individual social network or channel. So keep that in mind if you're going to take this approach as well. You can't just put everything everywhere and then never look back at it to see if it's even working and to interact with the people that are interacting with you and so forth. So, we do have a question from YouTube. It's amazing. There's somebody else named John Delancey out there. It's my father. So his question was, can a business be multiple heroes? And again, we're going to dive into this tomorrow when we actually focus on that particular subject, but the answer is yes. So to give you a very quick kind of preview of what we're going to be talking about, when I say, are you a Prince Philip or a Wall-E, what I mean is, are you a Prince Philip where your business primarily comes in at the last minute with the last minute save to slay the dragon? Or are you more like a Wall-E where you're there all along? You have something to offer your potential customers all along, not just at the very instant when they know without a question that they need you. So to put this in business terms, we could look at maybe a plumbing company. So are you an emergency plumber only? So you only get called in when the pipes break and freeze during the winter or the septic tank overflows or whatever? Or are you more of a general services plumber that you can handle emergencies, but you also offer preventative maintenance and new plumbing installations and things like that? That's kind of a very quick and dirty illustration of what I mean by those kinds of heroes. And that's also a good example of, as John asks here, a hybrid. So multiple heroes. Because you are, in that case, both. You're not just there ahead of time and before there's an emergency, and you're not just there at the time that an emergency occurs. You have the opportunity to serve people throughout whatever part of the buyer's journey they might be in. Buyer's journey is another good topic which we'll be diving into in future episodes. So yes, absolutely, your business might very well fall into multiple hero categories, so to speak, and that's also going to drive which social channels are going to perform best for you. So, like I said, we'll dive into much more of that tomorrow. But for today, we're going to wrap this thing up. These are meant to be very short, very quick episodes that we're doing on a daily basis. Tomorrow's will actually be a little bit longer. It'll be more like about 30 minutes. We're going to really dive into this topic of what kind of hero your company is and really focus in on some of the examples and implications of determining what kind of company or what kind of hero your company is. But for these other episodes, these other things we're doing every day, I don't want to take up a lot of your time. I just want to get on, have a quick chat about something interesting, and then let you get back to your day. So we're going to wrap it up. If you are watching this after the fact, because there aren't many of you watching live, and that's fine. We're just growing too. It's part of the journey. But if you're watching this after the fact, make sure you tune in every day. Like I said, this month in April, we're taking part in that Veda Challenge, the vlog every day in April. So we will have some new content up every single day. For this week, at least, we're going to try to broadcast at 1 p.m. Central Time every day. So to make sure you get those notifications, if you're watching on Facebook, you should have a little option there to make sure you're following our page, first of all, following Marketing the Magic, and to subscribe to get notifications when we go live and such. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you've subscribed and turned on those notifications so you will get notified when we go live. That's going to wrap things up for today, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this. Go out there and make the life you want to have, and we'll see you real soon. Thanks.